Hey everybody, it's Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at RE/MAX Camosun. I'm here with...
Hey everybody, it's Andrew Plank with Royal LePage. Merry ho 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 or whatever.
How has your week been going?
Well, just like the show so far today.
We've been having some technical difficulties, which is why we're starting a few minutes late.
Yeah, and why I'm not in my office where all of the equipment for good camera and microphone are set up, but nothing's working.
That's okay. So, you look very intelligent and festive.
Yes, I bought a new sweater and I feel like it's like my absent-minded professor kind of outfit.
Okay, well, let's go to the stats and then we'll see how the market's doing. And because Andrew's going to be on his phone, I'm going to read them off and then we'll discuss them as we go.
Sure. I can read it, by the way. It's small, but I can read it as long as I'm wearing these.
Okay. All right. So I only was able to get the stats for December 1st rather than week to date. But for November, the total net unconditional sales was 384. And compared to 3 days earlier where it was 339, that shows to me a lot of activity. Mm-hmm. That's listings that have gone pending. And new listings were 785. That's compared to 713 3 days earlier. So again, the listings are picking up a bit. And active listings were 2,111 over 2,129 the week before. And this is compared to November of 2021, where we had 887. So what do you think?
I think the numbers are looking pretty interesting. I think, as I was saying on our false start, we had a false start this morning. I shouldn't tell people what's going on behind the scenes, but anyway, this is it's looking kind of normal overall, like normal in the sense of average for our career.
Seasonal too.
Seasonal normal as well. Yeah, it's always slow around this time of year. People are kind of more distracted and less interested in real estate.
So we're going to see that actually on the next slide, where the new listings are at 163 for November 28th. And the past week, they've gone down to 148. Pendings were 90 for last week, and they're up to 100 this week. Price decreases were at 105 last week and up to 80, down 85 this week.
Yep.
But what the solds are at 94 for the end of November 28th. And then as of December 5th, we had 253. And that's because a lot of people move at the end of the month. Yeah,
people, when they're negotiating the contract, just are arbitrarily or not, have to put in a date for the completion and closing and when they choose to move. And so that's less to do with the market and more to do with just how people arrange their lives for these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then 98 expired in this last week versus 42 the week before. And again, because a lot of realtors and their clients set up their listing contracts to begin or end beginning of the month.
Yeah, I just want to say, I've become really cognizant of that when the change is going to happen, because a lot of people are motivated to move at the end of the month. So it really is not a good time to expire a listing. You might want to choose a different day of the month. Also, just be careful during Christmas that you're not expiring it during the holidays.
Yeah, and also when you're negotiating your completion, understanding that just because it's a round figure the first of the month or the last of the month, that can also make for more difficulty in arranging movers or getting a lawyer available because it's just higher frequency, higher use time.
Yeah. So ideal closing dates usually are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, actually.
Right. Yeah. Don't want to have the lawyers working on a Friday to do all the completion. If there's any delays, you may not be getting your keys till Monday.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I've actually made a change to our graphs, and I've added a little red line showing where we were last year, so we're easily able to see how we are year over year.
Nice.
So it's total active listings. You could see we were quite level in 2021, and then we declined seasonally for the end of the year. We ended up with almost no new listings at the beginning of this year, which caused a list to sale ratio of, I think, 12 to 10. So no, 10 to 12.
It was a crazy time. Those were the days.
Those were the days. So we're up around 2,200, and it looks like we're being fairly consistent. When Andrew and I got into real estate in 2006, it was considered a fast market. We had about 3,400 listings. So
still low.
Still low.
Yeah. This graph, if we zoomed back and out for the years in the past, we would see actually that it follows a similar pattern year over year, where it goes, up in the spring and down in the winter, and there's usually a little slight bump in the fall. But the amount of the height of the graph will change year over year, just depending on what's going on for the market.
Yeah. So this is what Andrew's talking about the two bumps. So you see last year we had a bump in the spring, a little lull in the summer, and then a subsequent bump in September, October. So we have, that's a little more pronounced this year. So, and you're seeing, if you look at the delta or the difference between the line and the top of the solid, oh my God, what do you call those? The sales, the listings are coming down, and the sales are coming down as well.
Yeah.
So about 30%, which is about a balanced market.
Yep.
So
I'd say it's feeling actually fairly balanced right now. I mean, it's all of us feel like we're much slower, but it's still more of a balance than it has been for a long time.
Yeah, I always think of it like a spinning top. When your spinning top is going so fast and it slows down, it's still going fast.
Yeah, and I've used
slower.
I've used the analogy as when you're speeding on the highway and going 20 over the speed limit on the highway, and then you come off the highway on the off ramp, and you come down to 50. It feels like you could still be speeding, but it feels like you're going super slow.
Right. Okay. So this is the sales to listings ratio, which shows that we are now in a balanced market, pretty firmly in a balanced market here.
Yeah. Yeah. And we were just in a like beyond sellers market. It used to be, you see how sellers in red is like so much above balanced? That's only because in the last year we had to sort of move it up, I guess. But usually when you see this graph and it's shared with people, the balanced buyers and sellers are all like down below at the bottom, and you've got kind of like, this has just been an incredible sellers market in the last year. So that's why it's moved up for scale, but it's not really normally anything above that balanced is a seller's market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is interesting to me because we just had the Bill 44 go through, which said that condos and townhomes are going to be non-rental restricted, and there's going to be no age restrictions unless you're 55 plus. So I was looking at single family homes as well as condos and townhomes, and single family homes look like seasonally they're going down, and we're settling around 1.2 million. And then the condos and townhomes are doing very well. They're not going down.
And that predated that C44 as well, the Bill 44. But this will actually cause, there's been a lot of chatter, and it will definitely cause an upswing in activity, and there's been a lot of communication with clients around this as well.
So interestingly, we had our Remax party on the weekend, and I was talking to another realtor from our office and asking her, so when are you going to update your age restriction on your building? Because all of us should be putting that there's no age restriction. Well, apparently there was an offer that came in where a buyer wanted to purchase, but they wanted to know if they would have a baby if they had to move, because I think it was like a 45 plus or something like that, maybe 35 plus. Anyway, the building is now voting to make it 55 plus.
Yeah. Were you, Justin Hanson, who's a local real estate lawyer who specializes in strata properties, and the real estate board on Friday had him on for a video. I think they were expecting, 80 to 120 attendance for that. We have, 1,400 realtors on the board. They ended up with 500 people on that Zoom call, 500 realtors watching it. But, he was saying how he's actually been on the phone and helped a number of stratas already convert to having a 55 plus restriction. And most of those were ones that had 35, 45-year age restrictions that have been nerfed now, but some were actually ones that had 16, 19, a couple of those had, younger age restrictions. They're really just trying to avoid, young families, I guess. And also because the tenancies have been nerfed as well. If you're going to have a tenancy, I think some buildings that maybe were rent restricted may choose to put in age restrictions. So if they have to rent, it's going to be to someone who's 55 plus.
So this is the whole point. This is where government policy and practicality don't meet.
They don't always meet. And this was pushed through in 3 days. This was lightning fast legislation without a lot of foresight or debate or consultation. No. Yeah.
And anyway, I mean, it's interesting because I'm just going to speak from the perspective of a seller or owner. I have had to list properties where sellers have purchased for their family to own a condo here so their kid can go to university and not have to stay in residence because they haven't been able to get a place in residence. Yep. And then the no rental restriction has meant that when the child has graduated, they have to then sell it. Yeah, so there goes their investment. And the thing is, you guys, is that when you invest in a property, the only time you're going to make money is when you don't have to sell, when you're selling because you want to sell. So the fact that these people are putting in these restrictions, first of all, they're hooping themselves because they're narrowing the market. Yeah. Nobody with less than 20% can buy in an age-restricted building. It just CMHC won't insure it.
Now, does that apply to 55 plus though? I don't think it does.
Yeah, it does apply, but they usually have the money.
Yeah, you need a 20% down if you are not going to get CMHC or one of those other insurers to provide you the funds and the difference.
So I'm wondering if the government's going to change it now from that there's going to be no 55 plus condos.
That's been some speculation that they'll just remove that restriction entirely, which will really change the demographic on all kinds of buildings and probably that's pretty upsetting to anyone who has purchased in a age-restricted building. And consider that a lot of buildings that are age-restricted are also older and rental restricted or older. They don't have the sound barrier, sound quality. Hi, Sid. That they used to, or that they do now. So, so you're going to have a lot of noise complaints.
Right. Anyway, I do expect this number to go up, the condo prices to go up, because now people are going to start speculating on condos. And I know for myself, I went to visit a place on the weekend that had an ocean view, large square footage, and it was previously age restricted. And now I'm thinking, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, rental. It wasn't age, it was rental restricted.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, same thing for row townhomes. They have gone back to where they were last year, around 800,000 after a high. And I think this is mostly because there have been a couple of high-end townhomes that have sold over the past year.
Yeah, and I think, just demand versus housing, and the housing market going up, townhouses were, the second alternative, people might consider a townhouse if they were looking at a house. They won't probably consider a condo as an alternative if they can't afford a house. But yeah,
I just
we're
had
definitely
clients move out of a townhome into their own home because their monthly strata fee was $600, which is, I think, financing like $300,000.
yeah. Wow, 300? Are you sure?
Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so you can't really see it, but on the right side, I'll read this.
Yeah, I definitely can't see this. See if I can. Oh, you know what? I can zoom in. Look at that. Cool.
Okay, so basically I'm looking at the left side here for the benchmark price. This is the home price index, which it's based on an ideal home. But the benchmark price was $1,164,000 for November 2021, and that's up 2.4% from last month, down 2.4% from last month, and up 5% from last year. Single family home in the core, the benchmark price was at $1,307,000, and that is down 2.6% from October and up 4.6% from last year. Mm-hmm. And single family home in the West Shore is lagging at $1,038,000. That's down from $1,059,000 by 2%, but up still 8.8% from last year. And that's because we are getting higher end homes being built on the West Shore.
Yeah. You know what's interesting about these stats versus last year? Once we get into, January, February, March, February of, let's say, next year, and we're looking at the percentage change from last year, I think we're going to see quite a big drop in changes. But we haven't quite reached that frenzied peak that we saw in early 2022.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're still kind of seeing what, we've gone back in time, and we're kind of currently back where we were a year ago. And then as we go forward into the next couple of months, we're going to see where we kind of peaked last year. And so it will look like prices are really declining. They're just declining from where they peaked, but they're going to probably be more steady, or if they're declining, it's a slow decline. Does that make sense to you, what I'm saying? Do you want to explain it better?
Yes, it does. What he's saying is that the market's going to be going up last year. We're moving into a place where this year in the spring, the market was high. And so it'll look like comparatively that we've decreased, but really I think we're just settling out. So that's why it's important to compare to last month as compared to last year as well.
Big picture and little picture, both important. Important to zoom in and also zoom out.
Okay, so Greater Victoria condos 579, that is down 2.9% from last month and up 9.6% from last year, which we saw in that graph. The core was at 587, so that's the main 5 municipalities. That's down 2.5% from last month, but up 9.6% from last year. And West Shore condos are at 528. That's down 3.1% from last month and up 3.7% from last year. And peninsulas were at 592. That's down 6.6% from last month. And there are more higher end condos going up in Sydney. And that's up 3.6 or down 3.6% from last year. Sorry, up 3.6%.
Yeah, thanks.
And row townhouses, so, they're fairly evenly priced at $798. That is at 0.5% down from last month and up 9.1% from last year.
Yeah.
The core is at $873. That is down 0.6% from last month. So essentially it's like even and up 9.9% from last year. And the row townhouses were at 725. That is down 1.2% from last month and up 9.7% from last year. And finally, in the peninsula, we're at 777. Again, 1.5% down from last month and up 6.3% from last year. So I'm
actually 1.5% up from last month. Did you say down? Anyway.
It's down 1.5% from last month and up 6.3% from last year.
No, it's up 1.5% from last month, not down.
Oh, sorry. I've got it wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
See, I can zoom in and see. Look at that.
Awesome. Okay, so
Okay.
we were talking about this, the knock-on effects. So again, what we were saying is that the 55 plus, some buildings are moving to that. I do find that more unrentable condos that are now rentable are getting more viewings.
Yeah.
And age-restricted condos are getting more viewings.
Well, we've all gone through, like, I don't know about you, but I've gone through all my search settings for all my clients, and I've removed any age restrictions, any rental restrictions from those searches, so that my clients are now seeing the full spectrum of available units in their price point and their criteria, because they no longer apply those. It is a bit of a moving target, though, and we need to really be careful, because if someone does buy in, they say they are planning on having children, or they're under, there's when you buy a unit, and if they, you can't add rental restrictions now, but if the age restriction is added or changed to 55 plus, it could mean that, you will be grandfathered if you're an owner, but if you were planning on having children, that's going to mess with things. And also, what happens in the meantime, if you agree to buy something unconditionally, between agreeing to buy it and it closing, the strata votes in, and they're doing a lot of emergency meetings and voting in these age restrictions. You may actually have purchased a unit. It's legal for you to own it, but it's not legal for you to move into it. So always, these are things to consider, and sort of look at the history of the building if you're looking at one of these.
Didn't he say it would be grandfathered? I guess when the change happens, it would be grandfathered if you moved in before the change is voted, but because they're emergency meetings.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks what's in it for me. Everybody.
Right.
It's sad.
There will be some people who get caught up in this, and yeah, there will be some people who get caught up in this. So
do you do diligence, folks?
Yeah, and again, understand the risks.
Okay, so I have a couple of resources here, which I'll post in the chat a little later, but just understanding the policy rate and what's behind your mortgage. It was very interesting reading that last night. So we may be up for another interest rate. We're going to find out on Wednesday what's happening there.
We'll probably see one more rate hike, and I think people are speculating at 0.25%, but you never know. And I guess the bank is the right to do what they do, whatever they're going to do.
Yeah. Anyway. So
hopefully this is the last of it, though, Jane, and we will be able to get to like more consistent, stable, predictable, rates, and understanding where things are going. Hopefully this settles out with this changes with the Bill 44, and we're moving through winter, but just on the other side of once we're hit 2023, I suspect we're going to see an uptick in activity. There's been a bit of a pause, but I suspect we're going to see a lot more activity come spring.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see how many of these buildings go 55 plus, because that would really suck the big one.
Yeah, it will.
Technically. Okay, so guess what? I can't play it. I went to Butchart Gardens. Let me see if I can actually. I'm going to unshare.
Beautiful photo.
And I'm going to share my screen. Go to my PowerPoint. Can you see that?
I can see your PowerPoint.
Okay, and then I'm going to show you this. I thought was so beautiful. Have you ever seen the movie Avatar?
I have.
So
are you asking our general audience?
Yes. So
if you've seen Avatar, please put please put it in the comments.
Well, that's what it was looking like. That like I didn't expect it. I expected to go through the gardens and see the big colors and everything. And they were actually turning them on as we were going because we went on Friday night. But when we went into that space where they had these green and blue lights, it was like Avatar. And I was like, it was so beautiful. It was really beautiful.
You just got to dress warmly and go and enjoy, because it's seasonally different every time of year. And yeah, I've never been there at night. I think that would be amazing. I should go check that out.
Well, that is what we are doing our draw for. So we're doing for the first of 2 draws. So I do have somebody who has been awesome at following me on my Facebook page and re-commenting and all of this. And so the winner for this week, who's going to be my draw person, is Rick G-Man. He's apparently a big golfer. And he has been following me. So Rick G-Man, I'm going to tag you. I'm going to actually go and find him. And I'm going to tag him in our post. And so if you see this show and you have 24 hours, otherwise we're going to give these tickets away. So it's 2 tickets to the Butchart Gardens. So
you're gonna make Rick, who's been so good at following you, if they just happen to miss something, you're gonna give it away to somebody else.
Well, yeah, maybe.
You better reach out, Rick.
That's what we said were the criteria, right? So I will post it in here as well. Rick. It's RG-Man, I think it is. Anyway, so yeah, I will let you know. I'll find you and tag you. And I just want to say thank you so much for sharing so many of my posts. If you really want to win this contest, this is a great way to do it. So
excellent.
All right.
Okay.
So next week you're going to be the person who's going to be doing the draw.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, here he is.
Sounds good. Oh, Rick got back to you already?
No, I'm just tagging him. So okay. Rick G-Man, congratulations. Alrighty, so next week we're going to have Jennifer Lowe on. She's going to be talking to us about the interest rates and what's going on, what she's going to be predicting for the next year. She is obviously talking to the higher ups at the mortgage companies and figuring out what their predictions are. Everybody is trying to, well, I think everybody hopes that it's not going to go crazy.
We don't want a repeat of the 80s.
We don't want a repeat of the 80s.
No.
Okay. Any new listings coming up?
Yeah, we were talking about how we're moving into lower listings and there's only some, so on and so forth. I've got my listing on Pipeline is relisting. So that one expired earlier this week. It's going to relist on Thursday with a refreshed price, and that one is ready to go. And then I've got a new listing at Minton House, which is at 1070 Southgate. This is Cook Street Village. This is a independent living unit. These are 55 plus. There is the strata fees and usage fee is high, but that's because it includes some light housekeeping, some a meal a day, some laundry. It's a really wonderful space, and the price is, this one's coming in at $225,000 for a 600 square foot plus 1-bedroom unit that is south facing. Amazing location. It's actually an unrecognized value in Victoria. You think about buying something equivalent to that, you'd be paying probably $450,000. With this one for $225,000, yes, you have higher fees, but you are getting all kinds of great services and an amazing location. And
sorry, what's the fee? What are the strata fees?
I don't have it top of my head. I think it works out to about, and it depends on occupancy, 1 or 2 people, because the base strata fee I think was around $1,500 or something like that. I think it works out to about $1,700 or $1,900 with the service fees per month. But watch for it, and if someone's actually interested in those actual numbers, I can get that all together for you. I'm still compiling some of that. But yes, it depends if there's 1 or 2 occupants. It goes up.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I have a 5-acre plus lot in Eastwick that's coming up with a newer house. It's just 2 years old. That's going to be around 1.2 million. That'll come out in the new year. I actually have several properties coming out in the new year, and my trestle property, which is now in the lowest of the low 5 properties in Victoria. It's 900 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It's on a 3,000 square foot lot. It's in a super cute community. So that's at $697.
Unheard of.
Yeah.
That's an unheard of price from, last year. And if somebody had seen that price last year, they would have just snapped that up so fast. And now people are, just going, well, yeah.
We're now 10% under last year's price.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, and a quick possession if somebody's interested. Let me just see here. Input. I have another listing on Hillwood coming up. So that is a property in basically the Broadmead area. So that is a 4-bedroom, 3-bath home. That'll be around 1.4 million.
Okay.
And Rick Geeman has acknowledged this. So thank you.
Excellent.
We will.
Congratulations, Rick.
The 2 tickets. So they'll be sent to you virtually. Just message me back with your email, please, and I'll get them sent to you. All right.
Okay. And then Jane, we won't get into deep depths on this, but probably you may want to talk about some buyers. I know I have a lot of buyers right now. Most of them are kind of moderately active, as I would say, rather than highly active. I think they are waiting for the right property to come along. That's what tends to happen when markets slow down. There's not the same kind of urgency. So they're waiting and seeing, and of course, this time of year, there's less coming on market as well. But I'm looking for sort of a fixer-upper family home, for a family of 5, a price point actually up to about 1.5 to 2 million even. I have a family looking for townhouse, more of a starter townhouse, up to about 750, but still for a large family. So there needs to have space, but preferably in the core. Number of people looking for condos and houses and so on. So if you have anything coming up, please reach out to Jane or I so we can connect the dots.
Or Jane or me. Okay, actually, I have somebody looking for a 2-bedroom condo in the core under 400,000, please.
There you go.
A hard one. Alrighty, guys. Have a great day. We'll see you later next Monday at 10 a.m. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye, Jane. Have a great night, day, whatever you're doing.